I request everyone to maintain silence and please be seated. I repeat, everyone please be seated. I request all the student friends to please be seated. I welcome you all to the keynote session.
The greater glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Now I invite Ms. Sindhu Mole from First BCom Banking and Insurance to give the chief guest introduction.
Distinguished guests, faculty members, and my fellow mates, a warm good morning to all. It is an honor to introduce our esteemed chief guest for today's event, Mrs. Priya Ma'am, Senior Manager, Nodal Officer for Women Entrepreneurs Cell, MSME, Coimbatore Region, Central Bank of India, Coimbatore, who has an overall working experience of 14 years in banking sectors, and she's expertise in various areas like processing and appraisal of retail loans, appraisal of agricultural loans, appraisal of business loans, risk management, operating issues in banking, recovery, and branch management. Ma'am has completed BSc Agri, MBA, JAIIB, CAIIB, and Certified Credit Professional, Ph.D. with distinction in academics with overall CGPA of above 9.20. She has exposed her knowledge and got posting in various places like Hyderabad, Warangal, and Coimbatore. She has presented national and international papers at various forums and won accolades. She has achieved Best Branch Manager during her tenure at Branch Head at Hyderabad. She was part of reviving sick MSME units by the way of restructuring during difficult times of COVID, and she was part of creating livelihood by taking efficient credit decision through sanction of loans to new MSME units. We are privileged to have Mrs. Priya Ma'am with us today, and we eagerly anticipate your insights and inspirations, ma'am. Once again, I welcome you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sindhu Mole.
We are honored to welcome our esteemed chief guest, Mrs. Priya Ma'am, whose presence adds immense value to this educational gathering. With great pleasure, I invite Mrs. Priya Ma'am to address the gathering.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for the introduction. It was a little bit exaggerated, but I was thrilled. A very pleasant morning to everybody, and I'm very happy to see all the cheerful faces. I've been very thankful to the management because I'm today so much excited because I've been in a place in a college after so long years. And I'm very thankful to the management of N.G.P Arts and Science College, especially Department of Commerce, Banking and Insurance for inviting me as a keynote speaker on national level symposium on NPA management. I was indeed fascinated with the addresses of our chairman sir and Chandrasekharan sir, and Arvind sir. They all had given wonderful inputs or concepts, especially in NPA management. First of all, I would like to tell that as everybody addressed, our chairman sir was telling about his phase, like how he had grown from 1987, where he had taken a loan of 10 crores, and now it is a very established legacy in Coimbatore, KMCH institutions. You should be proud of being a part of this organization, because he said that his account had become NPA twice. Becoming NPA is not at all an issue, but how he came back is the thing that everybody should interpret enough. KMCH institution is now externally A-rated company. Getting A rating is very difficult, and this is one of the A-rated institutions across the country, and so you should be proud of being a part of it. And almost regarding the concepts of NPA management, our Arvind sir had covered almost all the topics, all the concepts, but simply I can tell in a very short form that I will not get into details of what a substandard asset, what a doubtful asset, and what a loss asset, because you are all into the academics, studying banking and insurance, and you can know about the concepts anywhere from the books or from internet. The thing is the practical approach of how you should deal with the borrowers and how you should take a decision on recovery. Let me, out of my experience, I just share a very small incidence of how we appraise a borrower and how the industry goes and how it becomes NPA. For example, when a company is being financed, when a company X approaches me for a loan of 5 crore or 10 crore, how we take decision is, first it is in the appraisal phase. This appraisal phase should be very neat and clear. It means this is the, actually Chandrasekharan sir was telling that this is, NPA is cancerous to the economy. Means cancer means it grows slowly and slowly it abolishes, it destroys everything. So the thing is there is no cure for cancer, but prevention is better than cure. So when we finance an asset, as a banker, I should tell that we should always be vigilant enough in financing a borrower. It is not that he is a good borrower or a bad borrower. The first is his intention not to cheat the bank, or his intention to repay the dues promptly. This will be understood by a mere discussion or an interview, what he is about, what his, whether he is having the technical expertise or whether he is having the managerial acumen to run the business. I have done the due diligence. I have verified all the background checks, like we have verified the KYC, this CIC reports, this CRILIC reports, everything I have verified. I have got satisfied, and then we finance the borrower, and the project is being set up successfully and it is being run. For 1 year, it has been very successful. He had made an established track record with the bank, repaying the dues promptly, and then operating the cash credit or term loan accounts efficiently. After 1 year, what happens? He is now with abundant of income, cash flow, and he comes to us for an enhancement, or he comes to us for a fresh project. Having an established track record, there I didn't do proper appraisal or due diligence. We have enhanced the limit. Out of greed or something, he has diverted the funds either to some real estate or somewhere, but that is, he is not using the funds for the purpose for which it is sanctioned. This is the main reason, this is one of the main reason why an account becomes stressed. So in the next year, the account becomes stressed, and over the next year, when we see the balance sheet, we can easily find out where he has diverted the funds. So if the funds are diverted, he could not repay the dues to the project for which we have financed, and slowly it becomes a substandard assets in 12 months, and after 12 months it will become doubtful 1, 2, and ultimately it goes to loss asset in case if we cannot recover. So in the phase of becoming substandard, doubtful or loss, we initiate the recovery process. For small borrowers, the main thing is we initiate SURFACE. SURFACE Act is 2002 where we can take possession of the property without intervention of the court. So SURFACE is initiated, we have recovered the dues. Again, there are some dues where it has not been settled. Later, as sir said, like we'll be proceeding with NCLT, NCALT, all procedures are there, and finally if we can't recover, the account will be classified as loss and finally it will be written off. As sir said, written off account is one, it is that the borrower is not absolved from his responsibility of paying the dues, but it is written off from the books of bank. It is how it goes, and this concept and this topic is a very big topic where we can speak for hours, but I don't have so much of time. So I just want to conclude saying that it is an ocean, and if you want to learn about things in banking, you have to jump into the ocean. You will keep on learning each and every day, and keep your inquisitiveness to learn open, learn always and be open, so that you will learn lot of things. And now I think I can clear more of your doubts through interaction session rather than speaking, and thank you for providing me an opportunity. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Now the forum is open for questions. Student friends can clarify their queries with our guests of honor. I repeat, now the forum is open for questions. Student friends can clarify their queries with our guests of honor. Student friends who are asking their queries can come forward.
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a doubt. How does bank maintain a balance between NPS and lending to support economic growth at the same time, ma'am?
See, it is the duty of banks to maintain a balance, definitely. Bank itself is one thing where so much of risk is involved. That is, we always lend to borrowers. Now, as I said, your institution is A-rated and every bank will be easily financing institution with A-rated external rating. But where to develop the economy, we need to take some risk, take a good credit decision, and finance new borrowers, that is new entrepreneurial units, so that the business also will grow. Of course, there will be NPA, but it can be managed with effective credit decision. Now there are so much of checks where we can take very good credit decision. I think the balance exists and there is no problem.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. What are the possible outcomes that macro and small and medium enterprise that don't manage their NPS well?
If there are so many ways where an account can be revived without becoming an NPA. That is, an MSME unit should be aware that the banks are there to help them. That is, it is not to make that account as NPA. We have so many checkpoints where an account need not become an NPA. That is, there are guarantee coverages and there are possibilities for restructuring and reviving. the borrower should be aware of that. Once if he doesn't pay the dues, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have any connection with the bank henceforth. He should come back. He should turn around, and for that provisions are there in the bank.
Thank you, ma'am.
Student friends can come forward for your queries.
Good morning, ma'am. I am Karnika Devi from 2nd BCom Banking and Insurance, ma'am. Ma'am, how do regulator ensure transparency and accountability in NPA, ma'am?
Transparency between the borrower and bank always exists. We always give a copy of even the documents. If the borrower sign, a copy will be handed over to the borrower also. There is actually, especially in public sector banks, there is no question of no transparency. It is always transparent. And accountability and responsibility is there in the part of the borrower to maintain his account properly.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. Myself, Lekya. My question is, what are the precautions that the creditor should take to recover the loan?
See, precautions means it is, as I said, it starts right from the appraisal phase. That is, before taking a credit decision, we should see to whom we should finance and what type of borrower he is, whether the intention is correct, and whether the person will be utilizing the funds for the purpose for which it is sanctioned. If everything is correct, most of the accounts and projects will be successful. If there are any external factors affecting, then the account may go bad. Otherwise, it will definitely perform good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. I am from 2nd BCom B&I, sir. Second is Satyanarayan, sir. My doubt is how can account holder protects their savings in banks with their high NPA ratio, sir?
Actually, that's a well.
How can account holder protects their savings account in bank with high NPA ratio?
I will answer your question differently. Our Reserve Bank of India, it conducts stress tests on the bank. Because stress test, basically we have three scenarios. Baseline scenario, medium scenario, and severe stress scenario. It is based on the assumptions. Suppose the Indian banking sector becomes heavily stressed. Recently they conducted the that stress test was conducted as part of the Reserve Bank of India's financial stability report. The stress results have come out, and even in the scenario of severe stress, banks' capital adequacy for all the banks in India, the capital adequacy is well above the regulatory minimum threshold. So there is absolutely no cause for worry for the deposits parked in the banks.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. I'm Kadirvelu from 2nd BCom Banking and Insurance. Sir, my doubt is how does management of NPA differs from private sector banks and public sector banks, sir?
Well, it's a rather catch-22 question you have put us, because we are bound by certain framework beyond which we shouldn't comment, but it is an open forum. The treatment, classification, management of NPAs, the rules and regulations, it is common to all. So we can, just because an account becomes SMA, special mention account, that is SMA 1 or 2, we cannot go for enhanced recovery measures. We can give the due notices and reminders. That remains the same for both public sector and private sector. But once an account becomes NPA, the way it is recovered, there may be some structural changes in the way the public sector banks go after their recovery measures and the private sector lenders go after their recovery measures. Because I remember the first question was about maintaining the balance regarding the social objectives and the management of NPAs. It is more like maintaining the work-life balance. Because public sector lenders, we have our social objectives also, because we work towards the financial goals of the nation in addition to our own growth, the corporate growth also. So I think the basic difference will lie in though the methodology and the end result might not have much a difference, the basic difference lies in a more humane approach.
Thank you, sir.
I request other college participants to clarify their queries with our guests of honor. I repeat, I request all the other college participants to clarify their queries with our guests of honor.
Good morning, all. So it's a general question from the public, and as a member of public, I would like to ask this question. So whenever there is an increase in repo rate by RBI, the banks automatically increase the rate of interest of home loans, vehicle loans, and other loans. When the same is reduced, it doesn't happen automatically. The customer has to come to the bank and rewrite the loan by paying some processing fee and then rewrite the loan. So why can it not happen automatically as it happens when the repo rate increases?
Actually, sir, when this repo rate regime was changed from base rate to MCLR to RLR, the repo linked lending rate, one of the main concern was this monetary policy transmission. Whatever the monetary policy, either the increase in repo rate or the decrease, should be immediately translated to the customers. Once all these lending rates have been linked to the external benchmarks. Now our external benchmark primarily is the repo lending rate. So now all banks are mandated, as and when the Monetary Policy Committee meets once in 2 months and announces either the pause or increase or decrease in repo rates, the same day or the next day, the asset liability committees of the respective banks, they meet and they have to issue their internal guideline for the change in repo rate corresponding with the change announced by Reserve Bank of India, and by the end of the same day, their systems have to reset. Now it has become automatic. Whereas the concern previously, what sir was telling was very valid. There was a definite lag in transmission, especially for the reduction in rates, whereas that issue has been sorted out.
Good morning, dignitaries. Sir, I have a question to clarify with you, sir. Sir, how personal loans differ from other types of loans in the terms of NPA risks, sir?
I will start with the counter clarification, madam. What do you mean by personal loans? Not only you, anybody. Let's make it more interactive. Generally, what do we mean by personal loans?
housing loans, educational loans, that all will comes under the personal loan. So how?
So your query is how the treatment differs.
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm happy the particular student has framed her question in line with RBI classification. Because there is a general notion personal loans are just unsecured loans, because the RBI norms is different. Personal loans is all the retail plus the MSc. Everything comes under the personal segment as per RBI norms. So as far as the treatment, management and treatment of NPAs are concerned, especially for the education loans to start with, we have a ultra soft approach. Of course, this might lead to some other question, which I'm open to answer that also. We have a very soft approach towards education loan right from the time of sanction itself, because the repayment period, it's a very long repayment tenor. That is, as you are all aware, because most of us would have raised education loans. After the completion of the course, after 1 year, the repayment starts, and the tenor runs for 15 years. And at the request of the student, if the student is pursuing any higher education course, or currently unemployed or underemployed, again, the refacement mechanism comes into picture. We rephase the loan period accordingly so that the student doesn't face any difficulty. As far as the education loan, that is a soft approach. But whereas when it comes for the unsecured personal loan, vehicle loan, housing loan, again, housing loan, we give, generally what we feel is that's why all banks are aggressive in the housing loan market. Because in the Indian context, we feel emotionally attached to our home. Because generally we don't let go of our house property. But still, because the borrower might be a business person, might be suffering the aftermath of the COVID, or some downturn in his specific segment, because of which he is not able to repay. Straight away, we don't go for this SARFAESI action. We give the adequate time, everything. Then beyond a reasonable period, if still we are unable to revive the asset, then we go for the SARFAESI proceedings. Whereas there is a qualitative difference in treating vehicle loans. Because vehicle loans, generally, it is just under our hypothecation, but the vehicle can be taken anywhere. So after some experience, what we public sector lenders have done is, for vehicle loans, we generally, though vehicle loans are also classified under movables as per SARFAESI, we go through the seizure notice through our recovery agents, because vehicle, once you get the showroom, you get the key from the showroom, straight away there is a depreciation of 10% or 15%. So as the age of the vehicle progresses, then the depreciation factor kicks in, the written down value. So the faster we realize it is better. So for a vehicle loan, we don't wait much. But whereas, again, for business loans, coming under the segment of personal loans as per RBI classification, there again, there is a very measured, hand-holded approach. Because most of the micro and small enterprises, we can take even Coimbatore for example. Because Coimbatore, we are having clusters of micro units. It is known for its pump industries, specialized industries. Now they are facing a steep hit in their margins because of the rise in the input cost, raw material cost. Certain other factors are into play, which there are factors beyond the control of the micro and small enterprises. For them, again, we give the opportunity of restructuring, because majority, by our experience, what we feel is they are viable. We should not classify it as sick and kill the unit. So we give them adequate time, we give opportunity for repayment. We are being more flexible in restructuring or rephasing their repayment schedule, and we align the repayment schedule in accordance with their future expected cash flows. That's how we treat it. We treat the different segments in a very nuanced way. Thank you.
Thank you, dignitaries. That was very informative. Now I invite all the participants to receive their certificates. I request the dignitaries present here to certify the certificates.
We request students from Hindustan College of Arts and Science to come forward and receive their certificates.
Sir, good morning, sir. I am Satish Kumar from 2nd BCom V&I. Sir, during COVID-19 pandemic, what was the status of NPA and how the impact was, sir?
Because COVID was a health shock, cultural shock, and a financial shock for all of us. And there was a regulatory forbearance also in accordance with the directive of Honorable Supreme Court of India that no account should be classified as NPA during the particular period. Because immediately during the onset of COVID from March 20 onwards, straight away a moratorium of 6 months was given for all credit facilities. But still, people were just coming out of the first COVID wave. So until March 21st, all the loans which has to be technically classified as NPAs were not classified as NPAs because the regulator gave such forbearance, and the classification shut from March 21 onwards. But not only that, there was a special one-time restructuring on account of COVID without any downgrade in the asset classification, so that the borrowers don't feel any difficulty in raising further funds. Then it is not out of place to mention that we had the guaranteed emergency line of credit, the GECL facilities, where additional finance was given to tide over the difficulties in operational difficulties or the cash flow mismatch. The additional funding was also given. So on the one hand, the NPA classification was deferred, additional funding was given, and more flexible payment terms were offered. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. How do an NPA affects monetary policy and financial stability in a country?
Actually, it's bit interlinked, rather intertwined, because monetary policy, it operates on two parts. I have a banker colleague, come academician, I should say, because monetary policy, it operates on two objectives primarily. One is for maintaining inflation. Presently, inflation is maintained within the tolerance band of around 4 to 6%. Maintaining inflation within the acceptable level, at the same time promoting the growth stimulus, because Reserve Bank cannot afford to have a monetary policy that is very hawkish, which is stifling growth. At the same time, we cannot have a very soft monetary policy with ultra low rates, which will promote runaway inflation also. So the monetary policy, it is a balance between controlling inflation and maintaining growth. And whereas the question of NPAs impacting the monetary policy, yes, that's why we had the very low regime. We had the repo rates at 4% for long from March 20 onwards, because the Reserve Bank of India was very agile and nimble. They slashed the repo rate by around 2.4% in response to the situation, because the accounts were becoming stressed, so they will be unable to pay at the then prevailing rate of interest. And most of the loans were linked to the repo rates. So they slashed the repo rate at that time in response to the stress prevailing in the economy at that point of time. But if you have noticed, during the last 1.5 period, now the rates have been restored to the pre-COVID levels. Monetary policy, over a period of time, it's a very calibrated monetary policy we have. Over a period of time, they have restored. And during the last two monetary policy committee meetings of RBI, they had held the repo rates. Now it is at a pause, because now the situation has stabilized. So accordingly, they had held the repo rate also. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. I am Akash from First BCom Banking Insurance. Sir, are there any initiatives or policies that support students finding it difficult to repay their education loans, sir?
Definitely, all banks. it's pro-student, it is very student-friendly, because as the economy status back to normalcy, the employment opportunities, they are also a factor of the GDP. So all the lenders understand that just the employment markets are opening up, new avenues are opening up. It will take time to regain their space. Accordingly, it will take time for students to find the adequate employment. Finding an employment is not a big deal, but finding the adequate employment in response to that, or rather commensurate with the student's qualification, and it should be commensurate with the EMI which he is supposed to repay after the particular period. There it takes time. So generally, most of the education loans, very flexible repayment is given, and not only the refacement or the repayment holiday we are giving, for the students who are just freshers into the employment arena, it is going to be an upward trajectory. Once you get a job, it's going to be a hike, or as is the trend, they'll be switching over to various jobs within the sector or sometimes outside the sector also. So what we do is we go for the ballooning repayment also. Because today the student may be able to repay 20,000. After 1 year, he may be able to repay 30,000. And for 5 years down the line, paying off 50,000 per month also may not be difficult. So we structure our repayment schedule in such a way.
Ma'am, I have a question for you. Ma'am, how does the crop insurance should reduce? How does the crop insurance should help reduce the agricultural feed in NAP? NPS.
Of course, the crop insurance basically boils down to the Fasal Bima Yojana. Crop insurance, it is always, we push our branches in the rural areas, in the hinterland also, because crop insurance, it is not only available to the loany farmers, even to the non-loany farmers, crop insurance is available. We always encourage to take the crop insurance. These are at nominal rates, funded at times. And again, crop insurance, it is a first safety net. And when there are any disasters, flood, drought, or certain other events, act of God, certain other events, then the assessment starts, because there is a notified crop in each area, how much damage it has suffered. Accordingly, the compensation is given. To be very frank, actually the compensation given on account of crop insurance, that alone will not save an account from becoming NPA. That will give some compensation to the farmer, because the farmer has to sustain himself first. Once the farmer sustains, then the nation will sustain. Accordingly, the repayment is incidental actually. The crop insurance is a safety net that by itself may not prevent an NPA, but it will prevent both the farmer and the agricultural economy and the agri credit from going into a deep stress. So the crop insurance is a safety net which, even if the account goes into NPA, the chances of revival are brighter.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, ma'am. My question is about how do bank manage that delicate balance between recovering NPAs and also that preserving positive customer relationship?
Yeah, it is actually a good question. See, what is the relationship between a borrower and bank, I'll tell you. It is like getting your daughter married to a family. How the daughter's parents will maintain a delicate balance. We cannot be so strict, we cannot let loose also, but we should always be in a constant touch. We should be in a constant positive relationship. And it is how that we should maintain a borrower. Once if we are very stringent or very strict, they may go away from us, or if we let loose also, they may go away from us. So the balance should always be maintained, and bankers are in a continuous part of maintaining the balance. It is, as you said, it is very delicate, but it is to be followed.
Thank you.
morning, ma'am. I'm Madan from First Become Banking and Insurance.
I'm not.
Are there any risk to customer deposits if bank has a significant number of NPS?
You mean to say whether your deposits will be safe when you have NPA, when your account is an NPA? It means when you have some deposits in the bank and when your personal account becomes NPA, banks always have the right to set off. That time banks can take your deposit and they can adjust the account that is an NPA. Maybe there are certain certain accounts where we cannot do the right to set off, but usually it can be done. You cannot keep sufficient balance in your savings and keep one account as NPA. Maybe if you are a part of a company where you have not given any personal guarantee, in such cases we cannot take your deposits and adjust the loan. So it happens like that in bank.
Sir, Karnanidhi sir, I have a question. சார் நான் ஒரு கிராமத்துலேருந்து வரேங்க சார். நான் ஒரு விவசாயி பையன் சார். இப்போ எங்கள் ஏரியாவில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா என் ஏரியா பக்கத்துலேயே சுற்றி நிறையா இடங்க வந்து விவசாயம் பண்ணாமே இருக்குங்க சார். இதோட காரணம் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா வருஷமாக விவசாயம் பண்ணி ஒரு லாபமே இல்லாமல் நட்டமானதுனால நிறைய பேர் போட்டாங்க சார். இதிலே வந்து இப்போ பார்த்தோம்னா எல்லாத்துக்குமே கிராப் இன்சூரன்ஸ் இருக்குங்க சார். இதோட அவேர்னஸ் வந்து யாருக்குமே இல்லை. இதை வந்து உங்கள் சைட்லேருந்து ஏதாவது அவேர்னஸ் கொடுக்க முடியுமா சார் எங்களுக்கெல்லாம்?
To be frank, the city-ல பண்ற insurance advisors, we don't do crop insurance. But the government side, there is a huge support for farmers to insure their crops. இப்போ நீங்கள் டிவில எல்லாம் விளம்பரம் எல்லாம் பார்க்கலாம். ஸோ கிராப் இன்சூரன்ஸ் இருக்குது. எதிர் யூ கேன் அப்ரோச் தி நியர்பை உங்கள் கிராமத்தில் இருக்கிற ஒரு ஜென்ரல் இன்சூரன்ஸ் கம்பெனிக்கு போனீங்கன்னா தி மேனேஜர்ஸ் வில் அட்வைஸ் யூ. ஸோ கிராப் இன்சூரன்ஸ் பண்ணுறதுக்கு. அண்ட் அஃப்கோர்ஸ் வித் தி சப்போர்ட் ஆஃப் பேங்க்ஸ் it is very much possible to protect your assets. That is the farmers-ஓட assets என்ன அப்படின்னு சொன்னால் அவங்களோட crop தான். அதை வந்து against these natural calamities-லேருந்து protect பண்ணலாம். சார் சொன்ன மாதிரி you may not get the full compensation, but the compensation will be paid out of the loss that was incurred. That is indemnity-ன்னு சொல்லுவோம். So your loss will be indemnified. So that is possible, but the awareness மக்கள்கிட்ட வரணும். இன்னைக்கு டிவியில் நல்ல crop insurance விளம்பரம் வருது, அதே மாதிரி லைஃப் இன்சூரன்ஸ் விளம்பரம் வருது. the people awareness இன்னும் அவங்க மைண்டுக்குள்ளே போகலை. ரைட், இட் ஹேஸ் டு டெவலப் ஃப்ரம் தி பீப்புள் சைட். அதுக்கு என்ன வேணும் அப்படின்னா மோர் அண்ட் மோர் யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ் ஷுட் கெட் இன் டு திஸ் ப்ரொஃபஷன். அது ரொம்ப ரொம்ப இல்லை. The people, இப்போ பேங்கிங் அண்ட் இன்சூரன்ஸ் நீங்கள் படிக்கிறீங்கன்னா ஐ டோன்ட் நோ ஹவு மெனி ஆஃப் யூ வுட் கெட் இன் டு இன்சூரன்ஸ் கம்பெனிஸ்ன்னு தெரியல எனக்கு. ரைட், ஸோ it is only up to the people to have more awareness on the different types of insurance products.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, ma'am. I am Ashwini from First BCom Banking and Insurance. How can be youth educated about financial illiteracy and responsible borrowing to reduce NPA in future, ma'am?
No, once again.
How can youth educated about financial illiteracy and how can reduce NPA in future, ma'am?
It is you are talking about financial literacy,
yes, ma'am.
And how that will help
Reduce
in avoiding NPA.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it is a general broad question. Financial literacy, financial awareness, it is all the first thing starts from transparency, I can tell. You should always communicate your problem to the lender. You may not be in a position to repay the dues. The literacy, generally I'm telling about literacy is awareness. I have seen so many customers coming to the bank, even educational loan I'm telling, they will not be aware like how the loan will be given, how they have to repay, all the things. It is the duty of the banker to make them aware like your disbursement will be in phases and then your repayment will be after your completion of the course period plus 1 year. After that, when you get a job, you should repay. It is how we say, the bankers say to the customer, and then you have agreed to the terms and conditions and you will take a loan from the bank. After that, if you face some problems or if you cannot repay, you should not keep the bankers in dark. The main literacy or awareness what I am telling is every problem has a solution and you should explain your problems to the lender so we can provide furthermore solutions or furthermore leverages in your repayment or something. This is one such example. Whatever the question you have asked is a very broad term. I have just given an example. It always comes with the transparency. Literacy comes from your inquisitiveness to learn about the product. There are so many products which support new entrepreneurs. Even if you are a naive student who had completed your graduation, if you have to start a unit, if you have that skill, you can take a mudra loan of 1 or 2 lakhs. Schemes are available, but you should be aware of the products. You should literacy comes from learning. You have to see lot of updates, lot of inputs, and then you will come to know about the product, and then by discussion you will come to know about the details of the product so that you can be aware of the things.
Thank you, ma'am.
மார்னிங் மேம். மேம் ஒரு சின்ன எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்லணும்னா, நான் இப்போ ஃப்யூச்சரில் வந்து ஆண்டர்ப்ரனர் ஆகணும்னு நினைக்கிறேன் மேம். நான் ஒரு 20 lakhsக்கு லோன் அப்ளை பண்ணுறேன் மேம். எனக்கு லோனு கிடச்சிருச்சு. ஒரு சர்டைன் ரீசன்ஸால் என்னால் லோனை வந்து ரீபே பண்ண முடியல. ஒரு 5 years நான் ரீபே பண்ணாமல் விட்டேன் மேம். அந்த லோன் வந்து என்பிஓவாக மாறிடுச்சு. ஆஃப்டர் 5 years ஐ ஹாவ் அ கெப்பாசிட்டி டு ரீபே த லோன்ஸ், ரீபே மை டெப்ஸ் மேம். பட் எனக்கு வந்து இப்போ பேங்க் சைட்லேருந்து இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் ப்ளஸ் பிரின்சிபல் ப்ளஸ் இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட்டோட நான் ஒரு 35 lakhs இருக்குன்னா நான் டோட்டலாக பே பண்ண வேண்டியது வருமா, இல்லை ஒன் டைம் செட்டில்மெண்ட்டில் எனக்கு எதாவது கன்செஷன் கிடைக்குமா?
இப்போது ஸ்கீம்ஸ் இருக்குது. ஒன் டைம் செட்டில்மெண்ட்டில் நீங்கள் பண்ணலாம். ஒன் டைம் இப்போது நீங்கள் வந்து ஃபஸ்ட்டு டிஃபிகல்ட்டி இருக்குது, 20 lakhs லோன் வாங்குறீங்க, உங்களுக்கு கட்ட முடியல அப்படின்னா அதுக்கப்புறம் உங்களுக்கு ஒரு ஆஃப்டர் நீங்கள் வந்து ஒரு ஒன் டைம் செட்டில்மெண்ட்டில் வந்து பே பண்ணுறீங்க. உங்களுக்கு ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் இருக்குது. ஒன் டைம் செட்டில்மெண்ட்டில் சொல்கிறாங்க உங்களுக்கு வந்து 20 lakhs ப்ளஸ் இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட்டோட ஒரு 26 lakhs இருக்குது. பட் நீங்கள் வாங்கின அமௌண்ட்டில் வந்து இது பண்ணிவிட்டு ஒரு 18 lakhs 17 lakhs கட்டுங்க, ஒன்ஸ் ஃபார் ஆல் வி வில் ஃபினிஷ் அண்ட் தென் வி வில் செட்டில் த அக்கௌண்ட்டுன்னு சொல்கிறோம். பட் ஒன்ஸ் அக்கௌண்ட் ஓடிஎஸ் ஆயிடுச்சு அப்படின்னா, or if you it is settled in NPA, if it becomes an NPA and if it is settled under OTS, then your track record is already gone. ஸோ இப்போ வந்து நெக்ஸ்ட் டைம் நீங்கள் வந்து லோன் வாங்க வரப்போ நம்மளுக்கு வந்து அந்த உங்கள் இதை பற்றி ஆல்ரெடி உங்களோட அக்கௌண்ட் வந்து it has been settled under OTS, and so that your score would have come down. But that time if you have a repayment capacity, like when you have அப்போ வந்து உங்களுக்கு நிறையா பணம் இருக்குது கட்ட முடியும் அப்படின்னா, you can come to the same bank and you can, there is provision for payment of the return of principal or interest. அப்போ எவ்வளோ ரைட் ஆஃப் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க, எவ்வளோ இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் இது பண்ணியிருக்காங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஃபுல்லாத்தையும் பே பண்ணிவிட்டு, அண்ட் வென் இஃப் யுவர் நியூ ப்ராஜெக்ட் இஸ் வயபிள் அகெயின் வி கேன் ஃபினான்ஸ், அந்த மாதிரி கூட இருக்குது. சரியா? ஸோ ஆல் பாசிபிலிட்டிஸ் ஆர் தேர். தேங்க்யூ.
Student friends can come forward to clarify your queries.
Ma'am, what difficulties we encounter while transferring the NPA to other entities, ma'am?
Other entities, you mean to say ARCs? I think Arvind sir can make it very clear.
Because once we transfer this non-performing asset to ARC, the basic thing is anybody can pick out. We are unable to recover in the first place. That is why we are transferring it to a different entity. So the ARC which purchases that asset from us, they will purchase it at a discount. Suppose we have to recover 10 crores. They might purchase it from us for 4 crores or 5 crores because we are unable to recover. And again, one thing is we are transferring that NPA to the ARC. To that extent, our balance sheet is cleared. But ultimately, even if you are transferring it for 40% or 50% discount to the ARC, it doesn't mean that we get that 4 or 5 crores immediately. There are some ratios. Because recently we had this S Bank. S Bank, they had cleared up their non-performing asset portfolio. They sold it off to that ARC JC Flaws. That was a 15%, 85% ratio. That is 15% of that amount that ARC, which is purchasing this asset, 15% or 20% they will pay to the bank. Remaining 80%, they issue as security receipts. Because generally the notion is we are selling to ARC at a discount, but we get that amount immediately. That's not the fact. Even if we sell it for 5 crores, we get 50 lakhs or 1 crore as upfront. The remaining 4 crore which we are supposed to receive, the ARC will issue security receipts. Again, these security receipts, the underlying asset is the non-performing asset only. So based on the recoverability of the non-performing asset over a period of time, the security receipts will be redeemed. There we face some issues because not every non-performing asset for which a security receipt is issued, everything is being redeemed at par value. There we are facing some issues because while disposing of the asset and cleaning the balance sheet, we would have thought, okay, we will realize this much over a period of time. But ultimately the realization may not be up to the extent that we envisaged. So it is a trade-off, the cost benefit we have to work out.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Preeta Muruganathan from 3rd BCom Banking and Insurance. My question is about how do banks collaborate with the fintech companies to enhance their NPA management and to recover their tools, sir?
Because that starts from the lending process itself. Now there is a lot of co-branding going on between the fintech lenders and the banks and the scheduled commercial banks. So this partnership which starts at the time of credit underwriting, the appraisal sanctioning, going forward for the management and recoverability of NPAs. As of now, especially for the small value NPAs, we have some certain tools to get the information. But going forward, when the fintech lenders and the public sector lenders, they make a collaboration, then suppose there is a non-performing asset, a small value, 20 lakhs or 30 lakhs. That borrower is able to repay, whereas he has opened some current account with some other bank and he is utilizing his business proceeds through that bank. Now we don't have recourse to that bank. We can at best take up with that bank, but that is a lengthy process. So, but once the fintech player also comes in, we get the real-time information. The real-time information, maybe on T+1 or T+2 basis we get. Now we get the alert, okay, if it is not here, the party is routing the funds there. Ultimately, he has to route somewhere within the system. That's where at a larger level, the Reserve Bank also is working on that. Because now they are now we are having the CLIC, the centralized repository of information for large credits. But going forward, they are going for a very centralized database for each and every borrower. That is the ultimate project. For each and every borrower, wherever he borrows, wherever he repays, or wherever he routes the funds, everything becomes known to the lender at the click of a mouse. That's some time forward, but that will be made possible with the participation of the regulator, scheduled commercial banks, and of course the fintech companies.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I have a question like, so what is the willful deferral when we relate it to other international cases? Is there any cases related to like that? So in India, we may say like Vijay Mallya. So what about in international cases, sir?
I will say for willful default cases, contrary to the public perception, our position is far better when compared to the international scenario.
Oh.
Because they move to some tax havens, some places where they get a new citizenship, everything. Of course, we have some few high-profile cases of willful default. That's it. Of course, each nation has. But when compared to the international scenario, now our financial systems are more robust.
Sure, sir.
So what we feel is the willful default ratio, it's coming down and it will still come down.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, my question is about what is a classification, how do classification and management of NPAs differ from the public and private sector banks in India?
Actually, all public sector banks, private sector banks are governed by the same regulator. The classification is usually the same. The classification is usually the same. For management also, we have certain guidelines that are to be followed, and that is almost same for the private sector banks and the public sector banks. But the thing, how they execute is difference. There is a difference between a public sector bank and the private sector things. So public sector banks are strictly governed by the regulations. I don't say that private sector banks are not like that. They do follow, but they have their own strategies to recover the amount.
Actually, my question was that what is the management of public sector and private sectors of NPAs? So I asked wrong.
Okay.
I request the participants to clarify your queries. Thank you, dignitaries, for the knowledge gathering session.
There are three things you can do with your life. You can waste it, you can spend it, or you can invest it. The best use of your life is to invest it in something that will last longer than your time on earth. Now I invite Mr. Ram Prasad of 3rd BCom Banking and Insurance to give the chief guest introduction.
Distinguished guests, faculty members, and my fellow mates, a warm good afternoon to all. It's an honor to introduce our esteemed chief guest for today's event, Mr. M. Karunanidhi sir, Chartered Financial Practitioner and Life Insurance Advisor, LIC of India, Coimbatore, who is a Chairman's Club member from LIC of India and Co-Chairman, Education Committee of Life Underwriters Guild of India. He is a chartered member of BNI Benchmark. Sir has also done his certification on insurance salesmanship from Insurance Institute of India and is also fellow chartered financial practitioner in the Asia Pacific Financial Service Association, which is the largest financial service council in the Asia Pacific. He has completed his Bachelor of Science in Applied Science in Coimbatore Institute of Technology, Coimbatore. Sir has also attended his MDRT experience meet held at Hong Kong in 2004. He has visited various countries like Singapore, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Thailand to participate in annual general board meeting of Asia Pacific Financial Service Association. We are privileged to have Mr. M. Karunanidhi sir with us today, and we eagerly anticipate your insights and inspiration. Once again, I welcome you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ram Prasad. When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us become better too. Now I invite Mr. M. Karunanidhi sir to give the valedictory address.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. At the outset, I thank the management of Dr.N.G.P College for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with the students on a topic NPA, which only the banks are more familiar with, not the financial planners like me. And I also thank Revati Madam for inviting me to deliver the valedictory address for this session. First of all, you all know that 3 days back, the women's quota, 33% women's quota bill was passed in Parliament. My appreciation to all women here. And you are already, I see that you are already doubled your quota in this hall. So my appreciations to you all. And I'm sure both the chief guests here who spoke about the NPA would have given the basic information about NPA, non-performing asset. So what is non-performing asset? I think you're also the students of finance, you know it very well. There are different types of NPAs. Standard NPA, substandard NPA, doubtful assets and loss assets, அதெல்லாம் சொல்லியிருப்பாங்க, அதுக்கெல்லாம் ஒரு criteria வச்சிருக்காங்க. Then what are the causes of these NPAs? அதுவும் உங்ககிட்ட discuss பண்ணாரு சார். One of the important causes of NPA is, as sir said, willful defaulters. Willful defaulters என்ன பண்ண முடியும்னா ஒன்றும் பண்ண முடியாது. So nobody can help it. Only we can only pity the lending officers to those willful depositors. Only the time will tell. The court proceedings அதெல்லாம் முடிஞ்சிட்டு தான் அதுக்கு ரிசல்ட்ஸ் வரும். The second, the important reasons for the default that NPAs is the economic recession. Business நல்லா இருந்தது, எக்ஸ்பேன்ஷனுக்காக ஒரு லோன் வாங்கினார், சடனாக there is a recession in the economy and the market down ஆயிடுச்சு, they find it very difficult to repay. That is one of the reasons. And the another reason is the uncertainties that happens in the lives of the people. That also causes the NPAs. So as a financial planner, I can give a little bit of input on how to manage their finances. The people can manage their finances, how they can avoid taking loans, and if at all they go for loans, how they can avoid the default of their loans. So why the people, individual and a business organization, if you take individual, why the people go for loans? They have some commitments, and most of the commitments the people know well in advance. And there was a few questions on the educational loans and default and on educational loans, how the banks are students friendly while repaying the loans. So all parents, they know pretty well, the moment a child is born, whether it is a girl child or boy's child, at the age of 18, that boy or girl will go to college and the parents will have to spend on their education. Because everyone knows that no parent can avoid, ignore, or defer this commitment. And if the payment fees is to be paid on a particular date, on a month, it has to be done on that day. Otherwise, the student will lose the opportunity. So as a financial planner, I can give here an advice to all the parents. They can easily get ready to meet these commitments so that they don't have to go to a bank to take education loan. A couple of thousand rupees invested at the moment the child is born can give more than 15 lakh rupees when the child attains 18 years of age. So there will be no need for the parent to go to banks for educational loans. And the same the case for marriages. Every parent has to conduct the marriage of their children, particularly daughters, when they turn 23 or 24, 25 years of age. And every parent knows the moment a girl child is born at their home. And if proper planning is done, immediately after the birth of a girl child, they have 23 to 25 years time to get ready for the marriage of that daughter. And again, 2,000 rupees a month can give them about 25 lakhs of money after 25 years, easily to get their daughters married. So there will again be no need. And I don't think the banks have got a facility as marriage loan like they have education loan. Marriage loan, of course, it will be a personal loan like category, right? Personal loan மாதிரி தான். பர்சனல் லோனுக்கும் அதர் லோனுக்கும் ஒரு சார் அருமையாக ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொன்னார். பர்சனல் லோன்ஸ் ஆர் அன்செக்யூர்டு லோன்ஸ். அன்செக்யூர்ட் லோன் அப்படிங்கும்போது டெஃபினட்டாக உங்களுக்கு ரேட் ஆஃப் இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் கூட தான் இருக்கும். And the secured loan, say vehicle loan, they give a loan against the collateral of that vehicle. And the housing loan, they give loan against the collateral of the housing property. So அதுக்கெல்லாம் rate of interest கம்மியாக இருக்கும். And the education loan, there is no collateral. But education loan, they give the loans at par with home loans. Home loans at par, rate of interest. At par, home loan equal. But collateral they have human touch even in recovery of the loans. That is why their NPA is not that good as that of the private banks. But one good thing that has happened in India now, prior to 2018, the NPA of the loans in the Indian banks was over 11%. And it came down to over 5% in 2022. And by March 2023, it has come down to 3.97%. And I'm sure that it would have further come down by this time as we talk today. And definitely in the days and months to come, the NPAs in India will go down and down and down. All banks will become very, very healthy. That is what has happened in recent times in India. Another cause of NPAs is that vested interest or lenient assessing the asset quality. So அதெல்லாமே இப்போ குறைஞ்சு போச்சு. And the Banking Regulation Act has given more powers to RBI to recollect the loans and take actions against the defaulters. So these are all the reasons the NPA of the banks are coming down. So I gave an input that the people can avoid taking loan for education, marriage, and so if they are little prepared well in advance, so they can avoid taking loans. But having taken the loans, or they don't have any means to meet a particular commitment, they don't have any other option but to go for a loan. In that case also, as financial planners, we can give certain input that you can avoid the default of your loans. சும்மா லோன் கிடைக்குதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு கண்ணை மூடிட்டு எடுக்காம, before going for any loan, the people have to do cash flow analysis. Cash flow analysis பண்ணும்போது, so they will have an in-hand information about their cash flow. இந்த லோன் எடுத்தா அவங்க கேஷ் ஃப்ளோவை அனலைஸ் பண்ணினதுக்கப்புறம் அந்த லோனுக்கான ரீபேமெண்ட் சரியாக பண்ண முடியுமா முடியாதான்னு சொல்லிட்டு அவங்களே அசஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். அசஸ் பண்ணிவிட்டு இஃப் தே ஃபைண்ட் இட் டிஃபிகல்ட், if I go to this much of loan, I will find it difficult to repay, then they can control or they can reduce the loan amount. Or they can extend the tenure of the loan so that EMI will come down. How to analyze the cash flow? So each and every household or a business organization, a small or big, will have every month monthly overheads. And they know very well about their cash inflow. அவங்களுக்கு எவ்வளோ ரெவென்யூ வருது, சே ஒரு இண்டிவிஜுவல் ஃபேமிலி எடுத்துக்கோங்களேன், அவங்களோட ரெவென்யூ எவ்வளோ மந்த் ஆன் மந்த் சம்பளம், ஆர் ஒரு சின்ன பிஸ்னஸ் பண்ணுறாரு அதில் எவ்வளோ ரெவென்யூ வருதுன்னு தெரியும். அண்ட் ஹீ நோஸ் அபவுட் ஹிஸ் கேஷ் ஃப்ளோ, கேஷ் அவுட்ஃப்ளோ, அதாவது மந்த்லி ஓவர் ஹெட்ஸ் என்ன வருதுன்னு தெரியும். ஒரு ஃபேமிலி ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் எடுத்துட்டா மந்த்லி ஓவர் ஹெட்ஸ் என்னென்ன வரும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னால், ஒரு ஃபேமிலிக்கு தேவையான மந்த்லி எக்ஸ்பென்சஸ் என்ன எக்ஸ்பென்சஸ், ஹவுஸ் ஹோல்ட் எக்ஸ்பென்சஸ் கண்டிப்பாக மீட் பண்ணி ஆகணும். மளிகை சாமானை வாங்குறது, வீட்டுக்கு ரெண்ட் இருந்தால் ரெண்ட் கொடுக்கறது, பெட்ரோல் வண்டிக்கு பெட்ரோல் அடிக்கிறது, எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி பில், மொபைல் ரீசார்ஜ், இதெல்லாம் கம்பல்சரியாக மந்த் ஆன் மந்த் பண்ணக்கூடிய செலவுகள். அது எவ்வளோ கமிட்மெண்ட் வருது. தென் டிபெண்ட் எக்ஸ்பென்சஸ்ன்னு ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் இருக்குது, ஒரு கமிட்மெண்ட். தட் இஸ் அவர் டிபெண்டன்ஸ் ஆர் அவர் சில்ட்ரன் அண்ட் அவர் பேரண்ட்ஸ். So what is our commitment towards our children, school fees, college fees, our parents, any medication or any monthly contribution, அது இருக்கா பார்க்கணும். And existing EMIs ஏதாவது இருக்கா, லோனுக்கு வர்றவங்க ஆல்ரெடி they may have some loans, அந்த EMIs என்ன இருக்குது, how much EMI they are paying out of their income அப்படின்னு பார்க்கணும். அதுக்கப்புறம் ஆல்ரெடி எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் இன்சூரன்ஸ் ப்ராடக்ட்ஸுக்கு ஏதாவது பேமெண்ட்ஸ் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருக்காங்களா அதுவும் பார்க்கணும். பிகாஸ் இந்த 4 கமிட்மெண்ட்டும், ஹவுஸ் ஹோல்ட் எக்ஸ்பென்சஸ், டிபெண்ட் எக்ஸ்பென்சஸ், ஸ்கூல் காலேஜ் ஃபீஸ், அதுக்கப்புறம் இஎம்ஐஸ், எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் இஎம்ஐஸ், அதுக்கப்புறம் 4வது இன்சூரன்ஸ் ப்ரீமியம், இது எல்லாம் they cannot avoid, they cannot defer, they cannot postpone. கண்டிப்பாக பண்ணியே ஆகணும். தலையை அடகு வச்சாவது இந்த கமிட்மெண்ட் பண்ணியே ஆகணும். இது தவிர they will have some lifestyle expenses also. ஸோ இது எல்லாம் ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணும்போது the customer will have in-hand information about his income and his expenses. And after all his monthly commitments, he should find out the surplus that he has month on month in his hand. And the surplus இருந்தால் தான் he should think of going for a loan, whatever be the important reason for which he is willing to go for a loan. இல்லை அப்படின்னு சொன்னால் there are chances of defaulting the loan. அதே மாதிரி ஃபினான்ஷியல் பிளானில் ஒன் ஆஃப் தி இம்பார்ட்டண்ட் அண்ட் த ஃபஸ்ட் தி ப்ரியாரிட்டி தட் வி கிவ் டு அவர் கஸ்டமர்ஸ் இஸ் டு செட் அசைட் அ சர்டன் அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் மனி இன் ரிசர்வ் ஃபார் எனி எமர்ஜென்சி பர்பஸ். ரிசர்வ் ஃபண்ட், அது லிக்விடிட்டி ரேஷியோ அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். இட் இஸ் எக்ஸ்பெக்டட் டு பி 6. லிக்விடிட்டி ரேஷியோ இஸ் நத்திங் பட் தி நம்பர் ஆஃப் டைம்ஸ் தி கேஷ் வேல்யூ ஆஃப் தி லிக்விட் அசெட்ஸ் கேன் மீட் மை மந்த்லி ஓவர் ஹெட்ஸ். அது 6 அப்படின்னு இருந்தால் இட் இஸ் வெல் அண்ட் குட். நமக்கு எல்லாம் தெரியும், த ஹோல் வேர்ல்டு ஃபேஸ்ட் அன் அன்பிரசிடென்ஷியல் சுச்சுவேஷன் டூரிங் March 2020, ரைட்? ஒரு 6 மாதம் வரைக்கும் அஃப்கோர்ஸ் ஆல் பிஸ்னஸ் ஆர்கனைசேஷன் அப் டு 6 months they were confined at home. they couldn't come out, வேலைக்கு போக முடியல, பிஸ்னஸ் எதுவும் ஆரம்பிக்க முடியல. You were all confined at home for over 2 years நினைக்கிறேன் நான். நீங்களாம் வீட்டிலே இருந்தீங்க. இப்போ அந்த 6 மாதம் வரைக்கும் வேலைக்கு போகாமல் தொழில் பண்ணாமல் எப்படி அவங்க மந்த்லி ஓவர் ஹெட்ஸை மீட் பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க? கண்டிப்பாக இட் இஸ் வெரி டிஃபிகல்ட். தேங்க் டு த கவர்மெண்ட் ஆஃப் இந்தியா, தே அனௌன்ஸ்டு moratorium for the people to pay the loans. They can defer their loan commitment. Defer பண்ணுறதுனால என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா, they were not caught in CIBIL. I think CIBIL is a very important, very good tool for the bankers to identify the people who are good at repaying the loans. அதுவும் இல்லைன்னா ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். இவங்களுக்கு யார் லோன் வாங்க வர்றான், அவன் கொடுப்பானா மாட்டானா, என்ன இன்டென்ஷனோட ஒன்றுமே கண்டுபிடிக்க முடியாது. சப்போஸ் இஃப் எ பர்சன் comes to a bank with an willful default intentionோட வர்றாங்க அப்படின்னு சொன்னால், it would not be the first time he's coming to this bank. He would have gone to some other places also and he would have defaulted there. That would have been reflected in the CIBIL score. So they can easily identify the people who will willfully default, so they can easily avoid them. So இப்படி இந்த cash flow analysis பண்ணிட்டு after generating my surplus or after identifying my surplus, if I go for a loans, so there will be no chances of defaulting my loans. So அதே மாதிரி there was one question about the financial literacy. I would like to throw some light on this financial literacy. So in India, more than 75% of the people are illiterate. More than 75% of the people are literate, but only 24% of the people are financially literate. Financially literate ku literate ku enna vyathyasam? The financially literate people will have some basic inputs about the fundamentals of finance. Finance na enna, vaddi na enna, interest na enna, budget na enna, expenses. So இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு basic information வரும். பேசிக் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் கூட தெரியாமல் இருக்கிறவங்க தான் அந்த ஃபினான்ஷியலி illiterate people. They lose money like anything everywhere. ஈவன் அந்த பொன்சி ஸ்கீம்ஸ்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. இப்போ ரீசெண்டில் ஆருத்ரா கோல்டு கம்பெனி, அங்கே மட்டுமே 2400 கோடி ரூபாய் வரைக்கும் பணத்தை இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணி, அது மட்டும் இல்லை, ஈவன் இன் ரெகுலேட்டட் இண்டஸ்ட்ரீஸ் லைக் இன்சூரன்ஸ், த பீப்புள் ஆர் லூசிங் மணி லெஃப்ட் அண்ட் ரைட். ஸோ திஸ் ஃபினான்ஷியல் லிட்ரஸி only will help the people to avoid losing money, losing their hard-earned money, and also avoid the default of their loans they have taken. So on the financial literacy வேணும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னால், it should start from schools and colleges. But unfortunately, we in India, we don't have a curriculum which teaches about finance in schools and colleges. Only recent times I could see that there are the courses like banking and insurance in colleges, and I'm happy to share with you one information that there was one special module, elective subject on financial planning in N.G.P college, for which I was fortunate to have conducted a session on financial planning for about 10 hours last week. So this financial planning concept will give the people an idea how can I manage my hard-earned money. If they learn this art of managing their finances, definitely most of the cases there will not be any need to go for a loan, and even if they go for a loan, and there will not be any possibility of defaulting the loan. So all information about the basic fundamentals of the finance you will learn in financial planning. And the scope for this financial planning industry in India is huge. I will conclude with a small example. There are about 33 crore people in US. These 33 crore people are serviced by more than 80,000 financial planners in US. Because the financial planning is a subject in colleges and universities in US. Just like the people in India, they take up MBBS course, study, come out, practice, and start practicing on their own, and many work in big hospitals. Like that, the financial planning subject is taught in universities and colleges in US. The students go and learn financial planning, come out and start practicing financial planning in US. But you know, India is more than 4 times that of population of America. 142 crore people. You know how many financial planners are there to serve these people? Less than 5,000. Less than 5,000 people. Because we don't have a subject financial planning in colleges and universities. This concept, this awareness, this knowledge will help the people to get rid of this NPAs. The NPAs is not only the problems of bankers. It is the problem of people as well. Bank oda NPAs jaasti achina, the people will lose confidence in banks. And to get rid of this problem with the banks will have to increase the rate of interest for the existing loans. So in the மாதிரி different steps அவங்க எடுப்பாங்க. நான் சார்கிட்ட கேட்ட கேள்வி அதுதான், ரைட்? ரெப்போ ரேட் இறக்குனாங்க அப்படின்னு சொன்னால், ஏற்றுனாங்க அப்படின்னு சொன்னால் எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் லோன்ஸுக்கு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்காக ஏற்றிடுறீங்க. அது இறக்குனா யூ டோன்ட் ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கலி டூ தட், பிகாஸ் ஐ ஹவ் taken a home loan of 80 lakh rupees with HDFC Bank. Pre-COVID period, the rate of interest was about 6.75 to 7%. And after COVID, inflation rose, because of which RBI increased the repo rate, and all banks and financial institutions increased the interest rate of the existing loans. My interest was also increased. I didn't have any other option but to pay the same EMI. Of course, the higher portion will go towards interest and lesser portion will go towards principal. Right? After a couple of years, recently the RBI has not reduced the repo rate, but they have maintained the status quo in the last monetary sitting, and the rate of interest in banks started coming down. And after me going to the bank and requested them to rewrite my loan by taking a fees, and there was a processing fee. After paying, they reduced my rate of interest little bit. If I had not gone for rewriting my loan, I would have still been paying the same higher rate of interest. So this is a little bit of awareness the people should have to avoid paying higher interest than the prevailing rate of interest. So I would like to conclude, NPA is not a problem for only the bankers, but it is a problem for the whole the country, economy, and the people. So we should get rid of this, for which a basic fundamental knowledge on finance will help the people. And of course the students, you should show some interest in finance and learn the basic inputs of finance so that you can lead a happy and prosperous and financial the life full of financial freedom. I would define financial freedom as getting rid of dependency on other for any of your financial requirements. So with this, I conclude my small address on the finance management. So I thank once again Dr. Revati Madam for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Now I invite all the participants to receive their certificates. I request the dignitaries to present the certificate for the participants. I request one representative from the particular college to collect the certificates. I repeat, I request one representative from the particular college to collect the certificates. Hindustan College of Arts and Science. Rathinam College of Arts and Science. Sri Saraswati.
Sri Saraswati Tyagaraja College.
Ph.D. College of Arts and Science. Nanda Arts and Science College. AVP College of Arts and Science. Thank you, dignitaries.
With your presence, let's embark on this presentation together, sharing knowledge and insights. Now I request Dr. M. Ganesan Sir, Associate Professor, Department of Banking and Insurance, to present the report of National Symposium held.
I am privileged to present a report on National Level Symposium on Management of Non-Performing Assets, organized by Department of Commerce, Banking and Insurance, Dr.N.G.P Arts and Science College. The program was started with a prayer song and lighting a kutuvilakku by delegates. The welcome address was given by the Ms. S.V. Pavitra, 3rd BCom Banking and Insurance students, Dr.N.G.P Arts and Science College. The presidential address was given by the Dr.Nalla G Palaniswami sir, Chairman, N.G.P Research and Educational Trust, and also he highlighted the NPA in MSME sector and entrepreneurs to act as a performing assets, and also to the students to aware the NPA and risk management. The inaugural address was given by Dr. S. Sandarsekhar sir, Corporate Director, Roots Group of Companies, Coimbatore. He inspired the students by sharing his knowledge on NPA management, importance to everyone to aware about the MPA management and then risk management. The keynote speakers addressed was given by Mr. N.G. Arvind sir, Functional Head, Senior Manager, Inspection and Audit, Punjab National Bank, Coimbatore. He expressed his view on NPA cycling process, DRT Act, SURFACE Act, and recycling assets, and also risk management also. After tea break, continue to the keynote address by speakers. Mr. N. Priya, Senior Manager, Central Bank of India, Coimbatore, she elaborated his session on to maintain the risk management through strategies and customer cash flow and background and track record of customer and asset strategies. The discussion and deliberation session was presided over by the keynote speakers. Students are asked to lot of questions related to the NPA performing, non-performing assets. The experts to briefly answered, justified and explained to the NPA related questions. The valedictory session was prescribed by Mr. M. Karnanidhi sir, Chartered Financial Practitioner, Chief Life Advisor, LIC of India, Coimbatore. He also enlightened to the large commitments and then uncertainty risk, default payments, and these are all reason for to the arising the NPA, and also to everyone to need financial planning also. The national level symposium on management of non-performing assets provided to the knowledge on various aspects of banking sector, managing the non-performing assets, and also need to the causes of banking sector. Overall participants of the national level symposium, around 9 colleges students participated in Tamil Nadu and 3 colleges students participated in other states such as Kerala and Karnataka. Nearly 191 students were registered and participation certificate was issued. We thank for all contributors for their supports. Hope that we will need to in another knowledge session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Once again, I thank all the distinguished invitees present here for accepting our invitation. I thank our management, faculties and student friends for all your cooperation and kind attention. Thank you. We request everyone to stand up for national anthem.
जनगण मन गदिनायक जय गे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जल शिशरंगा दब शुभ नाम जागे दब शुभाशिष मागे जागे दब शय दादा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Students, please be seated.